And so today is the disappearance day of Srila Gopāla Gosvāmī. There is a very beautiful composition by Sri Narhari Chakravarti Sarkar. Narhari Chakravarti. He has given a book called Bhakti Ratnakar. I don't know, most of you do not know this book. But Narhari Chakravarti has given much details about the 6 Goswamis because nowhere else is there any details on the Goswamis. They were so renounced, they were so detached that they never allowed anyone to glorify them. It is said when Kaviraj Goswami was in Vrindavan and he was taking permission from all the senior Goswamis. So when he went to Srila Gopāla Gosvāmī, so Gopāla Gosvāmī gave him a blessing on this one exchange, where he said that Granthe, the Granth that he's going to write on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nijera Prasanga Varnite Nisheda. That I give you permission to write on one condition, that you will not mention my name. It is the other way. If in these days, if there is some title or some lecture or some composition and the name of the author is missing, what is the response? But if somebody gives lecture and then there is no YouTube, that day the webcast devotee tells, Prabhuji, aaj to recording hi nahi hua. Aaj miss ho gaya. So you'll say, very well. That is what I deserve. No, you will say, aaj hi fail hona tha kya? But this is the innermost feeling of the Goswamis. They're completely detached. They're completely renounced. They have no desire for name, fame, glory. Their only desire is to glorify the name of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his mission. There's a very beautiful Mangalacharan prayer. This is the second verse. You remember for Sanatana Goswami, we were glorifying through Rup Goswami's composition. So in Mangalacharan of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, like Srila Rup Goswami has glorified Sanatana Goswami, so in Bhakti Ratnakar is one book in which there is so much details and description about the 6 Goswamis and their personal life. So he says, Shri Bhaṭṭa Gopāla Padabhringa Srimat Sachinandana Hema Rupa Shri Bhakti Ratna Prabharika Daksha Pahi Prabhu Srinilai Dvijendra. So I'll explain this beautiful Mangalacharan and the Pranam Mantra of Srila Gopāla Goswami. He says, Shri Bhaṭṭa Gopāla Padabja Bhringaha. So Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Goswami is comparing to one who is like a bumblebee. And where is this bumblebee sucking honey or nectar from? From Srimad Sachinandana. From the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Goswami is always drinking nectar. Hema Rupaha. The Rupa, the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is golden. So the nectar which is coming from the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being directly drunk by Sri Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Goswami. I'll narrate that pastime, because that was the first instance when he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a child Gopāla. So the first thing he received was the Charanamrit, the Padamcha Amrit of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A very beautiful composition. So he has picked up that first exchange, that episode which happened between Srila Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is his position? He is Bhakti Ratnaha. He is the gem or the jewel of devotion, Bhakti Ratnaha. And he is Prabhareka Dakshaha. He is very expert. He is very, very expert in disseminating the bhakti literatures, the bhakti cult. Pahi Prabhu Shri Nilay Dvijendra. He is most skillful devotee of Lord. He is the king of the Brahmanas, Vijendriya. He came from the very highest Brahmanical order of the Dravid Desha. So, oh my Prabhu, Sri Gopāla Bhaṭṭa, who is like a bee at the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga Mahāprabhu. He is the son of Venkat Bhaṭṭa. He is the most valuable ornament of the divine love of devotion. Most skillful devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, O King of the Brahmanas, Pahi Prabhu, kindly save me. So today, this should be our prayer at the lotus feet of Srila Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Gosvāmī. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we went to Sri Rangam, we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reached Sri Rangam. He reached Sri Rangam in almost 15 months. When did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu start his yatra for South India? Let me see how much you remember. Some googly will keep coming. You should be now skilled enough to be able to bat and not get bored every time. When did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reach Puri for the first time? He took sannyas. Anyone remembers the day he took sannyas? 1 minute, I have to close the window. Quickly, Prabhus, Matas. When did he took sannyas? So many times I keep asking the same question. Yes, Ravindra Madhusudan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Makar Sankranti 1510.
Very good. 14 January 1510. Very good. And he reached Puri in Fagun month after 2 months. And then he stayed for 1 month. In the month of April, he stayed in Puri and he saw Dola Yatra. Anyone knows what is Dola Yatra? Most of us don't know Dola Yatra. Lord Jagannath celebration is there of the Dola Yatra. And in the month of Vaisakh, in the month of May, he started for South India Yatra. And just before the Chaturmasya, after 1 year in 1511, he reached the Sri Ranga Kshetra. Okay. So as usual, we will recite. We have one more opportunity to recite the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. And through Caitanya-caritāmṛta, we will glorify Srila Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Gosvāmī. So our glorification will be on the base of this prayer of Sri Narhari Sarkar, that who is the bee at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he is the Bhakti Ratna. The name of his title is Bhakti Ratnakar, but he is saying that the Bhakti Ratna is not me. Why his title is entitled Bhakti Ratnakar? Because he is glorifying all these Goswamis. H hai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Yaha hoite Vignanash Abhishta Puran. H hai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Ta Sabar Padanenu Mora Panchagar. Tandere Charan Sevi Bhakt Sanevas Janame Janame Hoy Yehi Abhilāsh. This is what Srila Narottam Das Thakur is seeking. That most fortunate if we get the speck of the dust of the 6 Goswamis. And today, although I was not present in my temple, in our temple, Radhapada temple, when I came back, I was seeing the photographs. Guru Maharaj was performing the Aarti of Srila Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Gosvāmī. There was Shutakriti Prabhu, Prabhupada's very personal and dear servant. He was also there. He gave the class today. And his great Sridham Prabhu. He is also Srila Prabhupada disciple. So 3 Prabhupada disciples together were glorifying Srila Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Gosvāmī together. Because everyone is interested to get the speck of the dust of the lotus feet of the Goswamis. Tas abhara padirinu mora panchagas. That is the exalted position of Srila Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Gosvāmī and all the Goswamis. So we will see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is reaching. He has reached Srirangam. And when he reaches Srirangam, Papanashna Vishnu Kaila Darshana Sriranga Kshetra Tabe Karila Gamana. After visiting the holy places of Shiva Kshetra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at Papanashana. And there he saw the Lord Vishnu. And then finally he reached Srirangam Kshetra. So Mahaprabhu had his long journey from the banks of the river of Godavari, where he went further. He went to Tirumala hills in Tirupati. And from there he came south down, covering hundreds and thousands of kilometers. And finally he came to the Srirangam, the Rangashetra. This is the, as you all know, this is the headquarter of Sri Sampradaya, Sri Ramanuja followers. Prabhupada speaks about this place. Sri Rangashetra, Sri Rangam is very famous place. It lies in the district of Tiruchirappalli. That was the airport. About 50 miles west of Kumbakonam and near the city of Tiruchirappalli on the island of Kaveri River. So this is on the banks of Kaveri River. We saw the Kaveri River. You remember Kaveri River? We were on the top of the bridge. We came out of the bus and we saw the Kaveri River. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came on the shore. So this Srirangam is on the shore of Kaveri. Srirangam temple is the largest temple in India. And there are 7 walls and 7 roads surrounding it. There are also 7 roads leading to Srirangam. The ancient names of these roads were the roads of Dharma, the roads of Raja Mahindra, the roads of Kulashekara, the roads of Alinandana, the road of Tiruvikrama, Tirubidhi road, Madhamadi Gaisha, and the road of Adya Iyavala in Dana. The temples were founded before the reign of Dharmavarma, who reigned before Raja Mahindra. Many celebrated kings like Kulushekara, Yamunacharya, Alabandharu resided in the temple of Srirangam. Yamunacharya, Sri Ramanuja, Sudarshanacharya and others also supervised this temple. So these names are predominantly the names of all the Alvars. Alvars, you know, they are the Acharyas in the Sri Sampradaya. The incarnation of the goddess of fortune, known as Goda Devi or Sri Andal, was one of the 12 Alvars. Liberated persons known as Divya Suris. She was married to the deity of Lord Sri Ranganath, and later she entered into the body of the Lord. An incarnation of Karmuka named Tirumanga, also one of the Alvars, acquired some money by stealing and built the 4th boundary wall of Srirangam. So this Alvar, his name is Tirumanga, or he is called as Tirumangai. Very, very extraordinary personality. He was the king, and what he used to do, because it required, you know, this is one of the biggest temple. It needed so much of resources and so much of money. So what he did, he had 4 disciples. And that 4 disciples had very extraordinary siddhi. I will not take that sequence now. Someday I will discuss. Anyone who has read that book, Ramanujacharya, fully? You took, Sonika, that book of Sarvsakshi Prabhu? Unmute and speak.
Yes, Prabhuji, I have read, but I have not completed it.
It is in the beginning. I don't think it is there in that book. But the PDF which I shared, that PDF is very, very, elaborate and very exclusive. Very good compilation. So that talks about how Tirumangai, with his 4 disciples, he built up the temple. Not by fair means, by so-called moral standards, but he was doing it for a higher cause. So that Prabhupada is mentioning about Tirumangai. Tirumangai was an alvar. So Prabhupada is saying, acquired some money by stealing. Tirumangai, one of the alvar, acquired some money by stealing and built the 4th boundary wall of Srirangam. It is said that in the year 289 of the age of Kali, the alvar in the node of Tondara Deep Padi was born. While engaged in devotional service, he fell victim to a prostitute. And Sri Rangnath, seeing his devotee so degraded, sent one of his servants with a golden plate to that prostitute. When the golden plate was discovered missing from the temple, there was a search and it was found in the prostitute's house. When the devotee saw Rangnath's mercy upon this prostitute, his mistake was rectified. He then prepared the 3rd boundary wall of the Rangnath temple and cultivated a Tulsi garden there. So this is how, miraculously, how Lord has reciprocated with his devotees. So there was also a celebrated disciple of Ramanujacharya called Kuresh. Kuresh, so many times he has spoken. Very, very exemplary personality. Well, Sri Rama Pillai was the son of Kuresh, and his son was Vag Vijay Bhatt, whose son was Vedavyas Bhatt or Sri Sudarshana Acharya. When Sudarshana Acharya was an old man, the Muslims attacked the temple of Rangnath and killed about 1200 Sri Vaishnavas. At that time, the deity of Rangnath was transferred to the temple of Tirupati in the kingdom of Vijayanagar. Just imagine the size of the deity of Rangnath. The governor of Inji, Gopan Naraya, brought Sri Rangnath from the temple of Tirupati to a place known as Sim Brahma, where the Lord was situated for 3 years. In the years 1293 Shakabda, 1371, the deity was reinstalled in the Rangnath temple. On the eastern wall of the Rangnath temple is the inscription written by Vedanta Desika, relating how Rangnath was returned to the temple. So this is all the history. Kaveri te snan kari dekhi Ranganath, stuti praniti kare manila krita. So Mahaprabhu, see how Mahaprabhu, whenever he comes to the place of prominence of pilgrimage, this is his standard process. Kaveri te snan kari dekhi Rangana. He will always go and take bath in the most auspicious river or lake or pond there. And he stuti pranati kari manila kritar. So he will go and take darshan, and he will always do stuti and pranati. What is the difference between stuti and pranati? What is stuti and what is pranati? We should be doing both. We are trying to some extent by Krishna's mercy, by Prabhupada's mercy. Everywhere we go, we find some stuti. Yes? Yes, Sonika?
Prabhuji, Stuti is glorification and Pranati is offering prayers, means offering the pranam mantras.
Stuti is also offering pranam mantras. Stuti means glorification. So pranam mantra is not the glorification. There is some difference. Stuti and pranati, just think over it. You will be able to catch it. Stuti, what you are saying is correct. Stuti means glorification. And what is pranati?
Paying obeisances.
Yeah, that is the translation which is given. Yeah, we should offer danvats. We should fall flat and offer our respects. Pranati means to offer respects. So whenever we go in front of the deities, we must fall flat and offer our pranati. Fall flat, offer our respects. So whenever we go, wherever we are going, so this must be the standard. Stuti, pranati. Stuti is also by kirtan. There are so many ways, and also pranati must be there. We should offer obeisances as many times as possible. The Gosvāmīs have, by their own example, by their own conduct, they have shown how many times they would offer pranati. Stuti, pranati, both. Caitanya-caritāmṛta. And also this is, stuti is by vachan, by vacha. Pranati is by body. We offer our respect. And Caitanya-caritāmṛta. What is kritartha? Just go ahead, one more step ahead. Mansa, vacha, and karmana. Stuti is vacha, pranati is through the body, karmana, and kritartha is the feeling, that is through the mind. So we should engage our mind, our body, our words, always in the service of the Lord. That is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting. Thus he felt himself successful. Prema veshe kaila bahut gana nartana dekhi chamatkar hoila sab lokera mana. So what was this stuti for Lord Ranganath? Who remembers? Sonika, you don't speak. Anyone else who remembers this stuti for Lord Ranganath? We would have recited how many times? At least 10 times. Who were there? Manoram Jagannath ji. You remember something of Ranganath? What is the first opening verse of Sri Ranganath Ashtakam? Bolo, bhul gaye? Every day we were reciting, so many times in a day we were reciting. What was this stuti? After coming back, never recited. It was so very appealing that I still cannot resist that recitation. आवाज आ रही है भाई? नहीं आ रही है? अब बोलो बोलो. Unmute and speak. Recite.
Prabhuji, I remember, I think one sentence only, but it was Ananda Rupe, Nija Buddhi Rupe.
Ananda Rupe?
Jo Buddhi. Ananda Rupe, Nija Buddha Rupe. ऐसा कुछ था Prabhuji. Nija Buddha Rupe, I think.
Who remembers? अनुराधा, आप बोलिए। उस समय तो everyone was singing, reciting, repeating so many times.
प्रभु जी उतना ही याद है, आनंद रूपे निज बोध रूपे।
I am sure Sonika को तो जरूर याद है। Sonika, you cannot forget, na? Never forget it. Keep revising, repeating. आप go. All others, including me, have faded.
आनंद रूपे निज बोध रूपे ब्रह्मा स्वरूपे श्रुति मूर्ति रूपे संस्कार रूपे रमणीय रूपे श्रीरंग रूपे रमता मनो में।
Very good. Exactly. Yeah. It is Ananda Rupe, Nijabodha Rupe. And Brahma Swarupe, Shruti Murti Rupe. Shashanka Rupe, Ramaniya Rupe. Sri Ranga Rupe, Ramatam Manome. And so much of ecstatic feeling was exhibited that he came into the Ash-Sattvic Vikar. All was manifested. And at that time, the Aarti was happening in the temple. There was Aarti being performed. And Mahaprabhu began to sing and dance. And when Mahaprabhu would be dancing in the golden form, very tall, so everyone was struck with wonder. Everyone became dumbfolded. Even the Pujari, when he was offering the lamp, his hand became still. Why? Because his eyes were gazing constantly on the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whom he was offering the lamp, he came alive, singing and dancing. So Venkat Bhatt, who was the chief priest there, and after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completed his stuti and pranati, and he became normal. So Venkat Bhatt very promptly took the opportunity and invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come for prasadam at his house. Okay, we'll see. It is there in the payar. In the morning, because of lack of time, I could not read the payars. I'll try to read some here. In the temple of Sri Rangana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted and danced in ecstatic love of Godhead. Seeing his performance, everyone was struck with wonder. Shri Vaishnava Eka Venkat Bhattanam Prabhurani Mantran Kaila Kariya Saman. A Vaishnava known as Venkat Bhatt then invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home with great respect. Sri Venkat Bhatt was a Vaishnava Brahmana and an inhabitant of Sri Rangashetra. He belonged to the disciplic succession of Sri Ramanujacharya. Sri Ranga is one of the 3 places of pilgrimage in the province of Tamil Nadu. 3 places of province of the Tamil Nadu. There are 2 more. The inhabitants of that province do not retain the name Venkat. It is therefore supposed that Venkat Bhatt did not belong to that province, although he may have been residing there for a long time. Venkat Bhatt was in a branch of the Ramanuja Sampradaya known as Vadagalai. He had a brother in the Ramanuja Sampradaya known as Shripad Prabodhanand Saraswati. The son of Venkat Bhatt was later known in the Gaudiya Sampradaya as Gopāla Bhatt Gosvāmī. So this is the personality. Venkat Bhatt's son, whose name was Gopāla. And Mahaprabhu, he reached Srirangam in 1511. And the birth of Gopāla Bhatt Gosvāmī is said to be in 1503. So he was a mere boy of 8 years. And in the age of 8, he got the audience and such personal association, not just association, but he got the opportunity to do all personal service directly to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he also had the opportunity to receive the highest education and the philosophical truths from none other than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So Mahaprabhu comes, Mahaprabhu accepts the nimantrana and he comes to the house. Nije ghare laya kaila pada prakshalana se jal laya kaila se vamshe bhakshana. Shri Venkat Bhatt took Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home. After he washed the lotus feet, all the members of the family drank the water. I told a story in the morning that I know of one of my friend, my god brother friend. He was telling me that once Guru Maharaj was in Rath Yatra in east part of Delhi, and Maharaj wanted to go to the washroom, and he said, Maharaj, my house is very nearby. So Maharaj said, okay, I'll come, but don't ask me to eat or stay there. Huh? I will just do my business and return. He said, okay, I will not ask or insist for anything. So Maharaj went there, and what he did, after Maharaj used the washroom, he came out with the patra and he washed his lotus feet and drank the charna. That is called intelligence. So the first meeting, the first exchange, that is what Narhari Chakravarti Thakur is glorifying. That Shri Bhaṭṭa Gopāla Padabja Pringaha. In his first meeting, in his first interaction, he received the Amrit of the Charana of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So what intoxication of love of God he received directly in his first interaction, in his first audience with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Venkat Bhatt, he filled the heart of all of his family members with the Amrit of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Charana. Bhiksha karan kichu kaila nivedana chatur mase asi Prabhu haila upasana. Another request. First request is to please come for lunch. That is first request. And when the request is accepted, you avail the opportunity to the highest. Did the Charnamrit and drank himself and gave it to each and every family member. Everyone got delivered. And with that delivery and purification in the heart, he requested the Lord that now Chaturmasya is beginning and the sannyasis do not travel in Chaturmasya. So you kindly stay here. Stay here in my place for 4 months. So that day we were discussing. Next day I said a clarification, but I found by Kaviraj Gosvāmī's blessing, I found the evidence. It is exactly 2 months, 60 days only, Dui Mas. In Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Adi Leela, 7th chapter, I found that verse. That Mahaprabhu gave Siksha to Sanatana Goswami for full 2 months. But now what? Just see the fortune of Gopāla. Sanatana Goswami received it for 2 months. But Gopāla is going to receive the association and the training and education from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for twice the number of days what Sanatana Goswami was given. 120 days. 4 months is how much? 4 into 30 is 120 days. And Mahaprabhu, just because he had to train the child Gopāla to be his foremost missionary to spread his message, Mahaprabhu agreed. Mahaprabhu immediately agreed. Without a fuss, Mahaprabhu agreed to stay on. Chaturmas kripa kari raha more ghare Krishna katha kahi kripa udhare amare. Venkat Bhatt said, please be merciful to me and stay for at my house during Chaturmas. Speak about Lord Krishna's pastime and kindly deliver me by your mercy. He was already delivered. He already drank Charnamrit. Tare ghare rahila Prabhu Krishna katha rase Bhaṭṭa sange gonaila sukhe charima se. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at the house of Venkat Bhatt for 4 continuous months. The Lord passed his days in great happiness, enjoying the transcendental mellow and discussing Lord Krishna's pastime. Kaveri te snan kari Śrīranga darshana pratidina prema veshe karena nartana. While remaining in Śrīrangam in the house of Sri Venkat Bhatt, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his daily bath in the river Kaveri and visited the temple of Lord Ranganath. Every day the Lord also danced in ecstasy. So wherever the Lord went, whatever the Lord did, his constant service support was Gopāla. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Kaveri to take bath. Gopāla would follow and serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, help him to take bath. He would go to Ranganath, he would bring flowers so that the Lord could offer the flowers to Lord Ranganath. So he was there everywhere, 24/7. Young little boy of 8 years was so deeply absorbed in performing all the personal service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for continuously 4 months. What a fortune. सौंदर्यादि प्रेम वेशे देखी सर्वलोका देखी बारे आईसे देखा खांडे दुख शोका. The beauty of Lord Chaitanya's body and his aesthetic love of God were witnessed by everyone. Many people used to come to see him, and as soon as they saw him, all their unhappiness and distress vanished. Laksha laksha loka aila nana desha hoite sabe Krishna naam kahe Prabhu ke dekhite. Many hundreds of thousands of people from various countries came to see the Lord. And after seeing him, they all chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna naam bina keha nahi keha sabe Krishna bhakti hoila loke chamatkar. Indeed, they did not chant anything but the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and all of them became Lord Krishna's devotee. Thus, the general populace was astonished. Shri Ranga Kshetre Vaise Yata Vaishnav Brahmana Eka Din Sabe Kaila Nimantrana. So the entire city of Lord Ranganath, Sri Ranga, was so much absorbed in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime that all the Vaishnava Brahmanas residing in Sri Ranga Kshetra invited the Lord to their homes. Indeed, he had invitation every day. What to say of invitation every day? He had many, many invitations each and every day. Yeah. Eka din chatur maasya purna hoila pataka brahman bhiksha ditena paila. Each day the Lord was invited by different brahmanas, but some of the brahmanas did not get the opportunity to offer him lunch because the period of Chaturmas came to an end. Shri Kshetre rahe ka Vaishnava Brahmana Devale Asikare Gita Avatarana. In the holy place of Ranga Kshetra, a Brahman Vaishnava used to visit the temple daily and recite the entire text of Bhagavad Gita. It's a very famous Brahmana, the Gita Brahmana. So that also incident happened here. So what to do? There is so much to speak. And I'm sorry, I started late. But in any way, I could not have covered. So we will carry it forward. Agree? I have to stop, because I woke up very, very early today, 1 o'clock in the morning, to prepare for the class because there was no time. And I'm completely exhausted. I really desperately need rest. Otherwise, my body will, not support me. Yeah. It has happened once before for preparing for Sripad Ramanujacharya. I also did that. I slept at 7:30. That is perfect way. That is what the Acharyas have always done their entire life. If I was so fresh, the entire day I have been fresh. It is how much? It's almost nearing more than 20 hours. But there is no fatigue, but I know inside the body is requiring rest. But if we sleep at 7 or 7:30 or even 8, we can easily wake up at 1:30. And that 3-4 hours before the Brahma Muhurat is so productive. So much I covered in the morning. So much I read, so much I heard, and there is no one to disturb. That is the best time to chant, read, write, is early morning hours. I have decided the day I don't have a class, I will sleep before 8 and wake up before 2 and utilize that time. You can also try. It is an open and you see your chanting is so smooth. If you chant before 4 a.m., that chanting is very special. We call it Makhan Malai. If you really want to experience Makhan Malai, but after sleep, if you are exhausted, then you won't feel that spiritual bliss. But many times I have one friend, Sriniket Prabhu, Sriniket Prabhu, that Kirtaniya devotee, he has very special taste for holy name. So when I am with him, so he wakes up very early. So we chant 1 hour or, so with him when we are in yatra or somewhere with him. So that 1 hour is very special. And believe me, you will be able to chant many more rounds. Easily 25, 32 or even more if you start early. Sleep early. Most important is the most toughest part of our sadhana is to be able to sleep in time. Sleep in time, wake up early. Chant your rounds early morning. And then you have ample of opportunity for reading, hearing, writing and sharing. That should be our mantra. Whatever we have to give up in this material world, just don't bother about it. Give it up. But never give up this nectar. This Padabja Bringa. Srimas Sachinandana Hema Rupa. That is what the Gosvāmīs are. Tva tu namashesha mandalapati Shrenim sadatu chava Bhutva dina Ganesha ko karuniya. So they gave up everything. What they gave up? They gave up the post of Prime Minister. What post position we have? What is there to give up? We have to only give up 2 things. One is our lethargy. And second is our false pride. And then you see what is the gain that we get. Śrīla Gopāla Gosvāmī ki jai. Just meditate on this one pranam mantra. Shri Bhaṭṭa Gopāla Padabja Bringa. He is like that bring, that bee. Bee, what is the characteristic of the bee? That it collects the nectar from the flowers. So that lotus flower is the feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he picked up the nectar from his first interaction and he continuously drank it. He was never at all satiated. He drank and just drank all through his life. I'll stop here. Somebody wants to say something? Anything on Śrīla Gopāla Bhaṭṭa or Srirangam? You should write also. Remember, I was feeling so thrilled today. I wanted to recite the full Ranganath Ashtakam, but I thought I don't have so much of time. But one day we will have one full day. Dayashil Prabhu. One Ekadashi we will come to your place. Okay? And we will all sing Vaishnava songs and bhajan and stutis and pranatis to the fulfillment of our heart entire day. Manoram Jagannath can join online. Or he can fly. You can come. You can come and join. Manini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Bolo.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
रोज रोज एक प्रेयर स्तुति करनी चाहिए भगवान को. If you really want to connect with Krishna, every day in the kutir of your man, you should perform one bhajan. Every day at least one Vaishnava song we should recite for the pleasure of the Lord. Very nice meditation on the Supreme Lord, just to please Him. I remember many times in my parents' place, I used to recite Bhagavad Gita for the pleasure of Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, full chapter. It just takes 8 to 10 minutes, not more. One bhajan, how much it will take? 4 to 5 minutes, nothing more. Just recite, just sing for their pleasure. Pranati and Stuti both. Whenever there is an opportunity, if there is no opportunity, create the opportunity. Pranati and Stuti, that is what we have learned today. Continue the devotee means he has Pranati and he has Stuti. Hare Krishna. Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai, Gopāla Bhaṭṭa Gosvāmī ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Tomorrow will be spiritual scientist class. So Krishna willing, I'll be coming to IARI. And let us see Sunday evening. Sunday evening we will continue. Okay. From Monday onward, it is going to be very tight because first I have my exams for Bhakti Vaibhav. Then I have 1 week of session of Bhakti Vaibhav. And then I have to teach Bhakti Shastri for 1 week. So this month, later half is going to be very, very tight. But we will try at least read 1 or 2 more times and see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's period in Sri Rangam once again. And the glories of Srila Gopāla Bhaṭṭa.